It's a global pandemic. That both creates and adds to poverty. Its stigma alone can be deadly. In the midst of HIV and AIDS destruction, countless agencies, organizations, and individuals labor to loosen the disease's grip on communities across the world. As an institution, the Catholic Church is one of the largest and arguably one of the most effective organizations in the struggle. It cares for 1 in 4 people living with HIV around the world. Yet much of its work is unknown and often misunderstood. What makes the Catholic Church so uniquely suited to respond to what many consider the public health challenge of our time? This is the 6th segment of a series about the Catholic Church and its response to the pandemic. Here, the Church addresses the great needs of those most vulnerable, children infected with and affected by HIV, and those who have been orphaned by AIDS. No other single group feels the devastating and compounding effects of HIV and AIDS more than children. Children orphaned by AIDS and those infected with and affected by HIV are more susceptible to malnutrition, illness, abuse, sexual exploitation, poverty, and ultimately HIV infection, if they are not already infected. The fate of children in some of the hardest-hit countries of the world will be the fate of those countries for the next decade and beyond.
The severity of the problem for children in the AIDS epidemic has become increasingly severe. It's a big challenge, and it's a big challenge for the child, but it's also a big challenge for that child's family.
Right now in sub-Saharan Africa, we have 12.5 million orphans. And although many of those children have been absorbed into extended families, the families are so overburdened with so many orphans coming into them that they often cannot respond effectively to the needs of those orphans. So the church gets involved in trying to help to provide school fees, food, and helps many of the child-headed households be able to have mentors, adult role models, and teach them how to farm their land and teach sometimes heads of household at 12 years old how to take care of their siblings who are much younger than they are.
In Kenya alone, AIDS has orphaned more than 1.2 million children. Eric Omondi Okoth was in high school when he became one of those children. He took over the overwhelming responsibility of caring for his 15 siblings after the devastating loss of his parents.
I almost collapsed, but something came into my mind. I'm the eldest. If I collapse, how will the young boys behave? How will the young children sit? So I had to put my socks and my shoes together. I grabbed some faith.
With the help of a local church-sponsored program, Eric Okoth was able to keep his siblings in school. He learned how to expand his farming business and now produces enough to adequately feed his family, as well as sell for a small profit.
The church has been very effective in helping us to get children enrolled in school, to get them all of the materials that they need in order to succeed in school, so that we can make sure that they have the best possibility for a healthy future.
The assistance Eric Okoth received has not only helped him survive the devastation of losing both his parents, but it has allowed him and his family to thrive.
My plea or my opinion to my fellow orphans like me is that they should not let their dreams to be buried with their parents. I want to be the best, and I want to be a role model, not only to my family, but also to my community and our nation at large. And by that I mean I want to be a light shining in darkness in our country, so that other people who may be sailing the same boat which I used to sail in may see that light and be inspired to soar on or to carry on.
Inspired in part by the hope it restores to those rendered vulnerable by HIV, the Catholic Church presses on in its efforts to confront and overcome the challenges of the disease.
I think it's a real demonstration of us not just providing, great technology and, the best treatment in the world, but it's also about basic principles of doing God's work.
In the final segment, the Church views and approaches the trial of HIV through the lens of faith.